We all know, Purim is coming, and Chayev inish lefsumi b'Purim ad de lo yoda bein or Haman leborach Mordechai, which obviously is very difficult to understand because the whole celebration of Purim is based on the difference between Haman and Mordechai. Why would it be that we should celebrate Purim in a way that we should reach a point where we no longer know the difference between Haman and Mordechai? So, it says like this: Vayomer hamelech leEsther gam beyoim hasheni b'mishte hayayin ma she'elosech. He asks her, what does she want? Vatan Esther hamalka. Vatoymer imotzosi chen beinecho ve'im al hamelech toiv tinosei li nafshi b'she'elosih va'ami b'vakoshosi. Ki nimkarnu ani va'ami lahashmed laroik ula'abed. Bilu lavodim v'lishvachos nimkarnu hecherash. He ain't hatzar shoyve b'nezek hamelech. So what's Achashverosh's response to this? Vayomer hamelech Achashverosh vayomer laEsther hamalka mihu ze ve'ezer hu Hashem Eloi libo lasis came. Vatoymer Esther ish tzar v'oyev Haman harazeh v'Haman nivas milufnei hamelech v'hamalka v'hamelech kom b'chamosai mimishta hayayin el ginas habison v'Haman oimed levakesh al nafshoy me'Esther hamalka ki ro ki kolso elav aro me'es hamelech. Now, what's going on over here? Achashverosh asks me, who ze ve'ezer hu Hashem Eloi libo lasis came. Did he not know who it was and what it was about? I mean, it was just a few days earlier that it says, "Vayomer Haman lamelech Achashverosh yeshnoi am echad mefuzor mefored bein ha'amim b'chol medinas malchusecha v'dosei hem shoynis michalom v'dosei hamelech ein hamoisim v'lamelech ein shovel anichom im al hamelech toiv yikosev la'abdom v'aseres alofim kikei kesef etc. Vayosar hamelech es tabate me'al yodei v'yitna laHaman ben amdoso ha'agogi tzorei Yehudim vayomer hamelech laHaman hakesef nosun loch v'ha'am lasis boi ka toiv be'einecha. So Avad Achashverosh knew mi hu ze ve'ezer hu, right? That came with this idea, and it was even al hamelech toiv. He himself was miloi liboy lasois kain. So his response to Esther seems strange, and l'chore, it can't be that just now when he found out that Esther is mizera Yehudim, she's from the Am Mordechai, he made as if he didn't know, because it says v'hamelech kom b'chamosei mimishta hayayin, and which means that he got all angry, meaning that it's clear that he didn't know until this point, and now he's all upset. V'hamelech kom b'chamosei mimishta hayayin, and then Haman sees ki kolso elav hara me'es hamelech. So Achashverosh was really surprised. How is that? You know that it says in Kapitel Gimel, "Vayives be'enov l'shloyach yad b'Mordechai levado ki higidu lo yes am Mordechai vayivakesh Haman lahashmid es kol haYehudim asher b'chol malchus Achashverosh." So it's clear in the pasuk that what he wants is lahashmid. Lahashmid means to destroy, which means to kill. But when he comes to the melech, he says, "Im al hamelech toiv yikosev la'abdom." He doesn't use the word la'ashmidon. But after the king gives his askama, it says, "Vayikoru soifre hamelech b'chodesh harishon b'shloisha osoboy vayikosev kechol asher tziva Haman el achashdar panei hamelech vel hapachos b'shem hamelech Achashverosh nichtov v'nechtam b'tabas hamelech v'nishloyach svarim b'yad harotzim al kol medinas hamelech lahashmid la'aroig u'la'abed es kol haYehudim tafenosh b'yemechot." So Haman l'chatchila was vayives l'shloach yad Mordechai levado, and decided lahashmid all the Jews. But when he came to Achashverosh, he says he kosev la'abdom. But in the svarim that were written, Yechol asher tziva Haman, it says lahashmid la'aroig u'la'abed. So what happened over here? That when he presents the idea to Achashverosh, he doesn't use the term la'ashmid la'areg la'abed, and he only says la'abdo. Also, another question, when Esther is mischanan to the Melech Achashverosh, she says, "Ilu la'avodim v'lishvachos nimkarnu hekarashti." I mean, what is this about? I mean, it's a hypothetical discussion which is totally out of place, because I mean, they weren't la'avodim v'lishvachos nimkarnu. They're about to get killed. So why does she need to talk out this thing that if it would have been la'avodim v'lishvachos nimkarnu hekarashti? Yeah, what's this about? The Rabbeinu Bachye on this pasuk, Ilu la'avodim l'shvachis nimkarnu hekarashti, says, v'zeh aloshin, shekach kosuv b'toras Moshe, b'parshas hatoichecho. It says in Parshas Kisove, v'hismakartem shom lo'ivecho la'avodim v'l'shvachis v'ein koine aval harige lo niskara b'chol ha'parsh. So he's explaining that the reason that she's saying this is because it's part of the teichecha that we be sold as avodim u'shvachos, but killing is not in the teichecha. Actually, Rashi on the pasuk of Ein Koine says ki yigziru alecha hereg v'chil yoin, but the Rabbeinu Bachya obviously is learning the pasuk not like that, but still, I mean, what does he say that hariga loy nizkira b'chol ha'parsha? It says mefurish va'avadetem bagoyim v'ochlo eschem eretz oivechem. So it's muchrach that avadetem does not mean that you will be killed, because the Rabbeinu Bachya is saying that in the whole parsha Satoichecha, it doesn't say that we will be killed. So va'avadetem can't mean that. And so it says in the Teres Koyanim, which Rashi brings on the pasuk va'avadetem bagoyim, kishetiu pezurim tiu avudim ze mizeh. You'll be mefuzeh and you'll be lost from each other. Rav Hirsch in his Pirush on the pasuk says, pasuk lametes maski v'hanishorim bochem. So later we talk about the nishorim bochem. When we can't va'avadetem bagoyim, einenu miskavein lichloyo gemura, because then they wouldn't be nishorim bochem. Efsher shezeh pirush habitui. Tiu avudim bahamoin. That will be lost in the masses, meaning that we'll lose our identity. We'll become assimilated. Shetiu avudim bahamoin ne'elomim me'eni acherim u'ke'en zeh se oived in Tehillim, or ha'oivdim be'eretz Ashur. Ach besoif ha'posuk ne'emar v'ochlo eschem eretz oivechem v'hari kan achilu shel kilui. Mistaber eifoi shemedu bekam bekloyo gemura shel chelik me'oma. A chelik me'oma, there could be a kloyo gemura, but about the whole ummah, it never says a kloyo gemura. About the whole ummah, what it does say is va'avadetem shom bagoyim, and that means that we'll lose our identity, which is what really the Teres Kohanim says, in a sense, kishetiu pzurim tiu avudim ze mizeh. So the klala of the golus va'avadetem bagoyim, yes, shetiu pzurim tiu avudim ze mizeh. So Haman is being mekatrig that this hasn't happened. Jews deserve the oynish of va'avadetem bagoyim. However, Haman says, Yesh no am echod mefuzar or mefored bein ha'amim, meaning that even though they're mefuzar or mefored, but they're still an am echod. They still have an identity of an am echod, and therefore the teichecha, the klala of va'avadetem bagoyim hasn't yet been mekoyim, right? And because it's still an am echod, and v'dosayim shoynois mikol ha'am, v'dosay hamelech einam oisim, they're holding on to their identity, and therefore imal hamelech toiv yikosev la'abdam, which the Rabbeinu Bachye says is the kiyum of the klala that it says in the teichecha that bismakartem shom lo yivechol avodim l'shvachis ve'en koine avol. It doesn't say harige, And what's la'abdom? We have to say la'abdom means like avadetem ba'goyim, that we should bring about that they should lose their identity, which is going to happen by being meshabed them la'avodim u'l'shvachis, which they'll be totally in the hands of their masters, and they'll lose their identity as an amechad. So, Pashtus the Pshat is that Haman used this language, la'abdom, in spite of the fact that really it says before that what Haman was out for was vayivakesh Haman lahashmid es kol haYehudim. But the pshat is that Haman was choishish that Achashverosh is not going to agree to kill an entire ummah, and therefore he used a language that can be understood in more than one way. He used the term la'abdom, which could mean la'abdom. Be'emes Rav Hirsch writes in a different place that the word ovad with an aleph and eved with an ayin have the same meaning, because an eved loses his identity. This is what he says in Bereshis aleph hey and in Shemois hey yud ches. So memela la'abdom could mean la'avodim u'l'shvachos, but it could also mean that they should be destroyed, they should be killed. And therefore, Vayikoru Seifrei HaMelech, and he Vayikosef Kechol Asher Tziva Haman. When Haman talks to the Seifrei HaMelech, he tells them ganz klar that V'nishloach Svarim Biyad Harotzim Al Kol Medinas HaMelech LaHashmid LaHarog ULaAbed Es Kol HaYehudim. The LaAbed in the sense of totally getting rid of the Ummah. So he's writing this B'Shem HaMelech Achashverosh that we're talking about a Kloya Gemura. In Be'emes, I found that it says this in the Malbim. The Malbim says in Gimel Tes, Shegonav Liboy, that Haman was going to Liboy Shel Achashverosh, Sheloi Omar Lo Sheroitze LaHashmidom, Rak LaAbdom, Shepashtos Bi'uroi Hu LaAbed Tzuras HaUma, Shehi Dosam, Levatel Dosam, Ula'achrichom Lishmor Dosai Shel Yeser HaAmim, O yoiser and yonim kaelu sheyasu tachbulos sheyishovet inyan ha'oma hu v'chikoseim v'nimuseim v'loikiven Achashverosh klal el ha'arige v'ibud hanefoshes. So it comes out that when Achashverosh said to Haman v'ha'om lasos boyka toiv be'einecho, he be'emes didn't consider that we're talking about killing the Jews. He be'emes thought it was la'avodim u'l'shvachos. And this is what Esther says to Achashverosh, that it's not so. And she says, in other words, if it would have been what you, King Achashverosh, thought it was, I would have been quiet. But what Haman did with your decree is he turned the decree of La'abdom, which means La'avodim u'l'shvachos nimkarnu, and he made it into a decree of lahashmid lareg ula'abed. And then Achashverosh says, "Mi uzev ezahu Hashem Eloi libay laseis Cain." He got all upset that his decree was misinterpreted, and he didn't know for sure who Lemaisa gave this interpretation. And she says that Haman was in charge of this whole thing, and he is the one that was mitzvah the Seifrei HaMelech to write lahashmid lareg ula'abed, and therefore Hamelech come b'chamasa. So Hamelech comes to chois. That be'emes the gzeira of lahashmid lareg ula'abed that came across as a ksav mefurish b'shem Hamelech v'nechtam b'tabas Hamelech was without his knowledge. So the gedoylo hasoras tabas yoisim imem ches neviim v'zayin neviyos she'amdu Yisrael, as the Gemara describes what happened that it brought them to such a tshuva. But how did it come about? This hasoras tabas that by Yosef Hamelech estabata, and he gave it to Haman to make this gzeira. It came about through Achashverosh, who was lo yoda what he's really signing off. He was lo yoda what he's giving this tabas for, and it was all mesuviv al yidei the mesaviv kol hasibis, as it says the hasoras tabas hichziroson lemotiv. So the Rebbeinu Shalom was mesaviv kol hasibis through shlichim that didn't even know what they were doing. the Shem Hashem is not mentioned in the Megillah. Ochein ato kel mistater Elokei Yisrael Moshiach. V'alayla hu noded shnas hamelech. So Reb Tanchum says noded shnas malkoi shel oilom. V'Rabbanon Amri nodedu elyonim nodedu tachtoinim. Rava Omar shnas hamelech Achashverosh mamish nafla le milse bedaite. Omar mai dekamon des minte Esther lahoma. Right, that he couldn't sleep because he was wondering, what is this deal why did she invite Haman? And then it says, the Gemara says in Megillah Daf Tezvav, Melamed shenikroim me'elehem. They were being read by themselves. So it's all Mesuvav Milamayla when the players downstairs are lo yoda. It says, and through the fact that Esther didn't say on the first day what she really wants, and she said, "Im atzasi chein be'einei hamelech ve'im al hamelech toiv lo seis she lo si v'laseis es bakoshosi yovoy hamelech v'homen al hamishta she'esel lahem umochor esek et bar hamelech." So she brought Achashverosh to a point of lo yoda mai kamon the zaminte Esther Lasuda, which brought about the nodedosh shnas hamelech, which brought about the vayiyu nikroim, as the Gemara says me'elehem. And she also brought Haman to a lo yoda because he was yotza b'yom hu sameach v'toiv leiv, and he came home and he said to Oyavo ben Zeresh ishtoi v'yisapolem es kvoid oshroi, until he made the Eitz Gavoya Chamishim Mama. And again, he was Lo Yoda. Haman didn't know, Ben Or Haman Baruch Mordechai. He was Omar Beliboy. Lemi Yachboy Tzamelech Litein Yekor Yoseh Mimeni. So he put himself in the place of Mordechai. So Haman was a Lo Yoda. Yeah, Ben Or Haman LeBaruch Mordechai. And then, the Gemara tells us that ki havenokit v'ozel in Mordechai b'shvila de Haman nitzchaf el beisay ovel v'chafui roish, because ki havenokit v'ozel in Mordechai b'shvila de Haman chazito brate the havyakoya igre. His daughter was on the roof. Savrahi aydirochiv avoy. She saw the one on that's being roichev is her father. V'hayde mazgi kamei, the one that's leading is Mordechai. Shokla atzitza the beisakise v'shadise areisha the avur doli einei. V'chazye da'avuahu nofla mi igra la'ara. Behind the ksiv ovel v'chafui roish ovel al bitoi v'chafui roish al mashir aloi. So in Biti Shel Haman there was also a lo yoda. Bein Or Haman LeBaruch Mordechai. She thought that Haman was Mordechai and Mordechai was Haman. So you see that the ganze ma'ora happened in a way of lo yoda. In other words, al kain koru layomim ha'ela purim al shem ha'pur. Al kain al kol divrei ha'igeres hazoisu. Ma ro al kocho, ma higi alehem. The pur is a goyrel, which is all about not knowing. And in all the divrei ha'igeres hazois, you see the gap between the ma ro al kocho, why people were doing what they were doing, and the mahigia aleim, what actually happened through what they were doing. In other words, sometimes you think you're doing A, but you're actually accomplishing something else. And memela, there's a gap between the ma ro al kocha and the mahigia aleim. That's the lo yoda that plays out throughout the whole Megillah. And dafke the Mesiras Nefesh of Esther and the matzav of mi idea. In Lo'es Azois, he got Lamalchus. That was Mavatal, the Indian of Vani Kasher Avadati, and it was and the Xeris Haman of Asher Bikesh La'abdi was Nizbatal. So the Revusa of Purim, L'umas other Moyadim, is that the other Moyadim are based on Nisim Gluyim. This Moyad, not only that it's not based on Nisim Gluyim, but it's based on Nisim that are Nistar and Teva. It's not just Nistar and Teva, it's Nistar in the Maisei Enosh V'Sach Buloisov. In other words, the Kel Mistate is poil through people that are doing this and that and the other thing, and they're not aware of what they're doing. And that's why the simcha of Purim is expressed dafkin and oifen of lo yoda bein oror hamal baruch Mordechai, that we are mevatel our yediyah, and we recognize that as much as we know, we really don't know, and that the Rebbeinu Shalom is megalgal the ma'oros even through people who don't really, who think they're doing one thing and really they're doing something else. Okay, Rabbi Isai, so that's what we said, and I wish you all a freilich and Purim. And I want to say that Absura Toiva, that Avram Noach ben Yehudis, Baruch Hashem, I visited him today, and he's already talking, and he's going to be moved out of the intensive care, Mitzvah Hashem, by tomorrow, and miraculously he's recovering in many ways. Anyway, the Eibishter Halfen, we should all hear B'soros Toivos.